everybody. This is the first of two videos that are pretty much the same, but to save me from doing all the progressions and modifications, and I lose a little bit of the flow, and it therefore takes a little bit more time, and I do appreciate that a lot of you are suggesting that the slightly shorter videos are more doable. This one is going to be the more progressive of the two. So there will be another video that will follow this that'll be really using the modifications and that little bit easier if you would rather have that as an option. So I'm going to begin. I've got a chair, that's my only prop today, assuming that everybody has one. I have a little sort of sticky here on mine just so that my foot doesn't get affected by the pattern on the chair. So if you have a chair like this, maybe you'll get a little something, a towel or something to put over it to make your foot a little more comfortable. So we're going to begin with some footwork. And why with the footwork? Because it's really important, especially if a lot of us are running, walking, taking maybe a little bit more exercise in the upright position than we might ordinarily do, that we have good strong foot placement, good alignment of the ankle, strong ankles as well. So we're going to begin taking one foot forwards onto the chair. Now you'll see that my back leg is positioned just a little behind fully vertical, okay? And you can make it harder by taking it further away, closer by bringing it closer will make it less challenging. My hands can either come onto my hips or they can be down by my sides. It's a balance challenge as well, especially if your mat is that little bit thicker and more squishy. So whenever you're ready, all I want you to do is just lift your back heel up. Keeping the heel up, you're going to bend the knee, push the heel right back down and straighten the leg. Lift, bend, straighten. Lift, bend and straighten. Lifting, bending and straightening. We'll do 4 more. Bend and straighten. Lift the heel, bend the knee. Push the heel down, lift. Bend, heel down. Lift, bend and heel down. Last one, lift and bend and heel down. Now simply from there, I want you to lift the heel and lower the heel. Lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Now things I want you to really think about is make sure that that back heel comes right down behind you. It's not twisted. Be really careful that your foot doesn't twist at all. Now from there, lift up, bend, and you're just going to straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. Now my heel is lifted throughout. Straighten and bend. 4 more, 3 more, 2 more, and 1 more. Now slowly from there, bend, straighten out your front leg, and we'll switch feet. So try and get your feet to be even so that you've got the same amount of tension on each one. Other foot comes forwards. Hands perhaps on the hips, be careful your hips aren't hiking. And slowly from there, you're going to take a little lean forwards. So we begin almost as though we're in a lunge position. And you're going to lift, bend, heel down, and think straight legs. So lift, bend, heel. Lift, bend, and heel. Lift, bend, and heel. Lift, bend and heel. We'll do 4, bend, heel, 3, bend, heel, 2, bend, heel, 1, bend and heel. Now slowly from there you're going to bend first, you're going to lift, straighten and heel down. Bend, lift, straighten, heel down. Bend, lift, straighten, heel down, bend at the knee, lift the heel, straightening the leg, heel straight down, bend, lift, straighten, heel down. We'll do 3, bend, pushes down, 2, straighten, heel down, and last one, lift, straighten, and heel down. Now simply with a straight leg, little tip forwards, we lift and lower that back heel. So really feel that foot articulating. Be careful that your head is in a good position. Lifting and lowering. We'll do 3 and 2 and 1. And pause. Now we're going to lift the back heel and you're simply going to bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. We'll do 4, straighten. 3, straighten. 2, straighten. 1 and straighten. Push the heel down, straighten your leg out, bring it all the way down. So that should definitely warm up your legs and ankles a little bit. Now down onto our knees, and the hands come down as well. We're going to do a little bit of our thread the needle just for some rotation. So I want you to take one foot out to the side. Now from here, you're making sure that that big toe is no further in front than level with your knee. Okay? Push your bottom away from you, so we've got a lovely neutral spine. Now with the same side as you have hand, or rather the same hand as you have leg out, we're going to start to reach that arm through, feeling a lovely rotation of your middle back. Then we're going to bring that arm all the way up. And again, just 3, reach through, and all the way up. And reach through, lovely long neck, and all the way back up. Slowly from there, we're going to come all the way back up. And I want you just to take a little lateral flexion here. So we're going to come up and over. You can hold your wrist and take that lovely, lovely stretch. Holding and breathing. All the way back. And now we're going to bring ourselves all the way down. Push your hip forwards. So we're going straight into a side kick, kneeling position. So try and make sure that the knee is directly underneath your hip. Watch out for this happening, or this. Do you see how we lose the vertical nature of that thigh bone? If this is too challenging for you, you could always use your chair, so rather than having yourself all the way down to the floor. And you're going to bring this other arm up, and if you can, hands come behind your middle skull. Now try and keep your knee pointing forwards, and we're simply going to lift and lower. Lift and lower. We're going to do 5s, so that's 3. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Now we're going to lift and hold. Now you're going to flex as you bring the leg forwards and point as you take it back. Flex forwards, point back. This is 3. Keep the legs straight. And back. We'll go forwards. We'll just do one more. Forwards and back. Pause with that leg lifted as high as you can, and we'll circle. 2, 3, 4, 5. Other way. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold, 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 hold. Hold your very best position. Bring the leg down and come all the way up and over, stretching it out. We're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So we begin with our little 4-point kneeling position and taking the leg out to the side. Just watch you're not too close to the chair. Remember, you're having your big toe level with about your knee. Wide full inhale into the back and the base of the lungs. Your hand on the same side as you have the outstretched leg reaches through. Think length through your spine. I have my palm facing up. And then we're going to open, 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 open. Keep a neutral spine. And then we come through again. Lovely length, 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 length. And all the way back up, 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 up. And again, you're going to reach through. And all the way back up. Really feel that you're pushing the floor away. Then pause. Push yourself all the way up and feel a nice lateral flexion.
I'm pushing this hip forwards. You can hold your wrist and pull upwards and away. That should give you a lovely stretch through your side. And then you're going to bring it all the way back up, arms out to T, and we're going to come all the way down to the floor. Holding and breathing. Now, if you know that you've got a little problem coming all the way down to the floor, either some books or have your chair around to the other side. Remember, you're pushing this top hip forward, underside hip forwards, big toe level with the front knee. Hand comes behind your middle skull, draw that elbow back so that you're not tempted to round forwards, and you're simply going to lift and lower. Keep your eyes up, keep that chin away from the chest, and lower. We lift, 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 lower, lower, lower. We'll do 3 and lower, 2 and lower, 1 and lower. Lifting it up and pause, flex that top foot, bring it forwards, point to take it back. Forwards and point, forwards and point. We'll do 2 and back, 1 and back. Pause and we circle. 5, 4, move from your thigh bone and not your foot. 2 and 1, top elbow is up. We go 5 in the other direction. Lift that underside waist. 3, 2 and 1. Hold your very best position and then bring the foot down. Bring it all the way back up and come all the way up to come over. Taking your hand and taking a lovely stretch, 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 all the way back up and all the way down. Straight into now, to open our hip a little more, our bridge position. So I'm going to use the chair. It makes it a little bit more challenging. And just make sure that you're not too close to the chair, but also not too far away. So that when I bring my feet onto the edge of the chair, and please make sure that it is secure, that I'm not bringing my knees sort of back like so. They're pretty vertical. And again, we've got a little sticky perhaps, if that feels good to you on your feet. Just a little bit of padding if you find that maybe the raw edge of the chair is too much for you. So a delicate flexion through the ankles. Try and keep your feet a working pair. My arms are down by my side and I'm finding a neutral spine to begin with. Remember, the rib cage is soft. Find your T12 and your sacrum is beautifully level. And all I'm going to do is from that neutral position, I'm going to lift all the way up and pause. Then I'm going to articulate back down, massaging and mobilizing that spine. Lifting all the way up and massaging back down. Keep the flow, lifting straight up and massaging down. Can I just remind you, when you come up, let's hold it here for a second. Can you remember your seat bones down here are rather like a pair of car headlights. Currently, they're in the dipped headlight position. I want you to now think about lifting them into their full beam position, and that should activate your bottom, possibly the hamstring a little more. So from there, all I want you to do is come straight down and straight up. Straight down, straight up. Straight down, straight up. Straight down, straight up. Last one. And up. And then just articulate all the way back down. Now, because most of our movement is not symmetrical like this, it's asymmetrical, walking, running, it's much better for us, quite often, to work single-sided arms, legs, rather than working both the arms and both the legs together. So now we're going to do some single leg work. So we're going to elevate one leg, same but start position, so think about that bottom rib, think about your sacrum, little tiny flexion in your support leg, and you're going to, or in your support foot, you're going to lift straight up and come straight down, straight up, straight
straight down, straight up. Remember those full beam headlights. You come up here, you're in dip lights, squeeze it up to the full beam. And lift and lower, and lift and lower, and lift and lower, and lift and lower. All the way up. Pause, place that other foot down. Make sure that your pelvis is beautifully positioned. The little seat bones, like the headlights, they're in that full beam position. And whenever you're ready, almost an invisible internal rotation of your new support leg, elevate the other. And we come straight down and straight up. So we have no articulation at all. Down to lift up, and down to lift up. We'll do 4, lift up, and 3, lift up, and 2, lift up, and 1, lift up. Now up here we're going to hold, and I want you to place that foot back down and articulate your spine all the way down, 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 and pause. So there's quite a lot of bottom today in this one. Now from here we're going to take the arms out to T, just a little bit of a supine spine twist by lifting one leg, lift the other, glue the legs, screw the knees as though you've been wrapped in cling from heel to hip, a very vertical thigh bone. Come a little across to one side. Keep those feet even and those knees even. Back through centre. Across to the other side and back through centre. Coming across and back and across and back. And you may even want to put one foot down, cross over the leg and cross to one side. Back through centre. Cross to that same side, and maybe a little roll over to the other side, and then cross the other leg over. So we cross in the direction that the leg is crossed over, and again one more that way. Breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. Then a little across to the other side and all the way back. Bringing your foot down, and you could just take a moment by taking your feet onto your chair. Now we're going to move into a little bit of abdominal work. So we're going to take the hands and we're going to place them behind our middle skull. And I want you just to think about your thumbs perhaps being down both sides of the neck. You need to be nice and comfortable. So I'm going to take my feet back to the edge of the chair, elevate one, neutral spine, elevate the other, and again glue them together as you did with the last supine spine twist. Elbows come a little into peripheral vision, and we're going to elevate head, neck and chest all the way up and lay the bones back down. Watch those ribs. A little length at the back of the neck, lift, 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 and lay the bones back down. And again, lift, 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 and lay the bones back down. And one more, lift, 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 and lay the bones back down. So now we can add a little bit to this, strengthening the abdominals. We lift, 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 pause. You can take the hands behind the knees, draw the knees a little forwards, flex a little bit more deeply, glue those legs together, and reach your arms straight up. Holding and breathing, clasp them together, pop them behind your middle skull, and lay the bones down without letting your back arch. And another 3 of these. Length at the back of the neck. Pick your head, neck and chest up. Hands behind the knees. Move the legs a little forwards to help you with your flexion. And reach the arms straight up. Breathe here. The longer you hold, the more challenging it is. Clasp the hands. Pop them behind your middle skull. And lay the bones all the way back down. We've got 2 more. Are you breathing? Inhale into the back and the base of the lungs and pick your head, neck and chest up, bringing your hands behind, lift, 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 reach those arms up. Flexion of your spine, a really important movement for our spine, especially if you've got a longer back. Longer backs should be doing lovely flexion on a regular basis. We've got 1 more of these, a little bit of length at the back of the neck. pick your head, neck and chest up, hands behind, and move the thigh bones a little further away, widen the elbows a little. That intensifies the flexion. Reach those arms up, clasp behind, and lay the bones all the way back down. Now, I don't want to be too close to my chair here, but close enough, as we're now going to allow ourselves to do a little bit of rolling like a ball style linking loop. So the hands behind the knees, lift the head, neck and chest, move my thigh bones a little away and begin to rock. And we'll just do a couple of rocks all the way up and holding, trying to keep my legs away from the chair. And then slowly from there, the arms come forwards and we control all the way back down. So hands behind knees, lift the head, neck and chest, push the thighs a little away, maybe just 2 or 3 little rocks, really getting the abdominals engaged. Lift your heart up here, it's preparation for our teasers. And then I'm going to release the hands and I'm going to control all the way back down. I did 4 of the last one, I'm going to do 4 of these. Lift the head, neck and chest. Little baby rocks, maybe 2 or 3, all the way up. Notice how my legs are not on the chair. Holding and breathing. Release. And control, control, control. It's a lovely articulation of the spine. Last one, a little bit of length at the back of the neck. Pick your head, neck and chest up. And baby rocks. And lift all the way back up. Now if you can, release those hands and lift your heart. Lift, 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 lift. Bringing it back and all the way back down. So from here, just place your feet down and maybe just roll yourself over. We're going to come down into prone position. The chair should be okay where it is. So I want you to come down onto your tummies. We're now opening out the front of our hips. I've got hand over hand right now. And I just want you to think about opening. Opening left and right hip. So whenever you're ready, with very relaxed shoulder blades, elevate just your left thigh bone. Try and keep the leg as straight as you can and try and keep the left hip evenly weighted to that of the right. Breathing into the back and the base of the lungs, all I want you to do is go into an external rotation of that left thigh bone, back to center. An external rotation, back to center. An external rotation, back to center. One more, back to center. Now an internal rotation, center. Internal rotation, center. Internal rotation, center. One more, internal rotation, center. And a couple where we externally rotate and internally. Externally, internally. Externally, internally. Pause, place the foot back down. We'll do exactly the same on the other side. Lengthening. And really think about those hip bones being even. The abdominal wall gently drawn in. A little external rotation. And back. And maybe you might find here that one side actually finds internal and external rotations easier than the other. We'll do one more. Externally rotate that femur bone in the pelvis and or in the hip socket and all the way back. And now we're going to internally rotate him back. Internally rotating back. It's so important that your thigh bones are able to do these spiraling positions in the socket. If we lose the ability to spiral like this, now add the 2 together, external and internal. Then it has an effect on your knees as well, externally and internally rotating. And pause. And whenever you're ready, you can just bend one, hold the toes, take a lovely stretch through the front of that hip, really lengthen. You can lift if it feels good to you, pull that heel in if it feels good to you, and release. And again, bend, hold, really think about the quality of your lengthening. Breathing all the time, possibly heel in, possibly lifting the thigh bone into the back of the hamstring. and all the way back down and pause. So we're now going to do a little bit of our swan. Your nails are level with about your hairline, there or thereabouts. Really think about lengthening those thigh bones, relax your shoulders. You can do a little shoulder shrug, shoulder drop down, shoulder shrug, shoulders drop down. One more, shoulder shrug. Keep your shoulders drop down as you elevate your head a little way away from the mat. Now imagine a softball or a roller, middle back, base of shoulder blades there or thereabouts. As you draw the ribs in, lengthening your sacrum, you're going to slowly imagine you're rounding around that softball and bend at your elbows to bring it all the way back down. And again, inhale wide and full. As you exhale, elevate your head, neck and chest. You're going to think about the length in your spine before you even begin to think about extending, lifting, 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 lifting. And bend your elbows to bring it all the way back down. Now we've been doing 4 of each, so let's do 4. Lift the head, neck and chest. Make sure those shoulders are still relaxed. Pubic bone is heavy. Are you breathing? Pause, if that's helpful, just while you get yourself in good alignment. Bottom ribs drawn lightly in. Now shorten that middle upper back. Really feel that your back muscles are working from the base of your neck all the way to your tail. And remember, it's elbows that come down first and then your breastbone and face. And we'll just do one more, elevate a little. And slowly from there, lengthen your spine in your mind. The bottom ribs are in the sacrum is long and lengthened, and lift. Now, if you wish, you're going to do some rocking swan, only if you really enjoy this position. So whenever you're ready, you're going to release and reach those thigh bones. Release and reach. Release and reach. Release and bring it all the way down to pause. Slowly from there, push all the way up, and you're going to take a stretch that works best for you. That might even be hands onto the chair, taking a stretch like so. Perhaps that feels good. Perhaps to one side of your chair, like so. Perhaps to the other side of the chair. Use it if it works for you. Don't use it if it doesn't. So in other words, you might want to come over, like so, and take a stretch. That might feel like a deeper stretch for you. You would bring it to the other side, lifting opposite seat bone, up and over your opposite heel, and all the way back. So restack low back, upper back, and eyes. Now we're going to go in onto our elbows. So we're still working the bottom, working our lateral hip as well, and the front of the hip. Really important that we're constantly building the muscles around the hips. Now, you could have your hands clasped together. You might have them in this position here, or even as though you were reading a book. It's entirely up to you, whatever position with the hands works. And then from there, your knees are directly underneath your hip sockets. And I want you just to reach one leg out, nice and long and lengthened. I'll just come forwards a little so I'm still in view. Inhale into the back and the base of your lungs, and you're simply going to lift the leg and lower the leg. Lift the leg and lower the leg. Lift, 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 lower, lower, lower. Lift, 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 lower, lower, lower. So keep thinking that I am pushing that thigh bone away from me. We'll do 2 more and down, and 1 more and down. Now this time we're going to lift it up and hold it there. We're going to take a bend into that knee. I'm going to take a little flexion into the ankle, and I'm going to just reach my thigh bone up and a tiny down, up and a tiny down, up, a tiny down, up, a tiny down. Lift and lower, lift and lower, extending at the hip, lower. We'll do 3 and lower, 2 and lower. You might feel your support side working. Last one and lower. Now I'm going to come into an external rotation, and take my leg out to the side. Now from there, we're simply going to lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. An external rotation, lift and lower. We'll do 3 and lower, and 2 and lower, and 1 and lower. Now on this next one, we're going to lift up. I'm going to bend at my knee. I want to try and keep my knee in alignment with my big toe, second toe. Push straight out and back in. Watch you're not overly leaning on your support leg. Reach and back in. Reach and back in. Reaching it out, back in. Reaching it out, back in. Reach out, back in. Reach out, back in. We'll do 2 more. And 1 more, and then bring it all the way back in and take a little moment. We're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So from here, remember the position of the hands, whatever works best for you. Make sure that your knees are not too far underneath you. Wide full inhale as you reach your leg all the way away from you. And you're simply from here going to lift and lower. Lift, 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 lower, lower, lower. Nice long neck throughout, lower. So very stable on your support side. Neutral spine. You're really focusing on length through the front of your hip. And we lift, 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 and lower, lower, lower. We'll just do 2 more and lower. And 1 more and lower. And then slowly from there, you're going to lift, you're going to bend, I'm going to flex into that ankle and try and make sure that your hips are nice and even, and we're simply going to push up, tiny down, up, tiny down. And as you lift up like this, you might just feel that bottom kicking in. That is the hip extensor. And we lift and we bring it down. We'll do 4 more. Keep breathing. 3 more. 2 more. And 1 more. And pause. Now slowly from there, reach that leg out. I'm going to come into an external rotation and bring the leg as far forwards as I can maintain good positioning through my support side. And we're going to lift and lower. It's a difficult one. And lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Be careful that your neck and shoulders aren't taking this. Lift and lower and lift and lower. Keep that back lovely and long. We'll do 2 more and 1 more and lower. Then you're going to lift, you're going to bend, and you're going to kick that leg straight out and back in. Straight out and back in. Now try and keep your knee in alignment with your big toe, second toe. And again, pushing out, back in. We've got 4, back in. 3, back in. 2, back in. And 1, back in. Then pushing it away, bring it all the way back and in, and maybe take a little moment. Resetting low back, middle back, upper back, eyes, and you might just want to take your hands behind you for a second. Stretch it back. Really feel that you are opening the front of the chest. As we now come onto our chair, I'm just going to move mine forwards a little so that you can see a bit better. So we're going to do a seated rotation from here. Sitting at the very edge of your chair, arms come out to the side, maybe put a cushion or something in between your knees if you're finding that it's difficult to stabilise. And I simply from here want you to imagine that there is a broom handle at the back of your elbows, from elbow to elbow. And if you have something like a chair upright behind you, see if you can touch it back through centre. So we're moving from our middle upper back. Can you touch it evenly on both sides without losing the position of your knees and your feet? Rotate, rotate, rotate. Feels easier for me on that side.
And then I have to work harder on my form, that I rotate from the right place here and not just from my hips, because it feels a little tighter for me on the left side. So I really want to pull my left hip back, but I'm not going to let myself. In fact, if you have a tighter side, you could do a couple on your tighter side. Get into where you're missing out a little on that rotation, to the side and back. Really mobilizing and mobilizing. And just a couple more. And whenever you're ready, you're going to pause and bring it into a capital E position. Now, keep your bottom ribs down. I want you to think extension here. So, thumbs are going to face backwards, fingertips up towards the ceiling. Low hairline gently drawn in. And I want you to now imagine that millimeters your fingertips lift up. You begin to push your tail away from you, shorten your middle upper back, and think extension of your spine. And all the way back, and bring your arms down. We'll just do 2 more of these. So fingertips are up, my thumbs are pointing backwards, tail is long and lengthened, bottom ribs are in, and I'm going to lift my heart up. I'm going to think about the fingertips just lifting a little touch more, shortening my middle upper back, sending my tail long and lengthened. This isn't just about lifting your chin up. I can really feel that in my middle upper back. And we'll just do 1 more. So slowly, think back extension here. Palms are facing your ears or the sides of your head. Feel the low hairline. Make sure that those feet are even. Now imagine your fingertips could begin the journey upwards just a few millimeters. Tail presses down. Imagine a roller or a softball in your middle upper back, and you lengthen before you extend. I can really feel that in my middle upper back, and then bringing it down, all the way down. Hands can come to your knees and flex, going the other way. Last little thing. You're going to stand for a second. I'm going to make sure that I have that little cover there. I'm going to come down onto my hands and place 1 foot down and then the other foot down. And here we are in a nice little plank position. Just holding and breathing. Hold and breathe. Hold and breathe. Perhaps 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Pause, 1 foot down, other foot down, push those heels down, spike your seat bones up. Really lift the toes up. A little lift of one heel, so we stretch down the side of one leg and then push down and lift the toes on that stretching side, pushing the heel down. Now push them both down. Walk the hands back, perhaps the feet forwards, hang really beautifully heavy, and slowly release that low back, middle back, upper back, and eyes. Take 1 arm over, stretch it over, lift your heart a little up towards the ceiling and a little down towards the floor, all the way back and down to the other side. Stretch, lift up. Rotate down, and then all the way back down. Lift the shoulders, drop them. Lift them, drop them. And lift all the way up. Push the heel of the hands. Get that lovely energy in. Keep those collarbones open. That's us done for today. I'll be back really soon. Thank you so much for doing these videos.